group dynamics, quick case studies, reflection, and so on and so forth. There are a lot of relevant TLAs that may be used depending on the creativity of the teacher to plan his or her lesson. In fact, the third component can be considered a TLA or purely assessment task. So assessment task can be considered a TLA, especially if it is formative assessment, kasi it aids in the learning. It's assessment for learning. And when we measure that, we measure not to grade, but to assess whether they need to be discussed further, or some of the activities must be done again and again, right? Furthermore, assessment tasks provide continuous opportunities throughout each course for students to practice the skills and apply the knowledge they have gained and measure their achievement of the intended learning outcomes. So generally, there are actually two kinds of ATs that we commonly know of. They are assessment for learning or formative. So these are assessment in support for learning. It uses assessment tasks as a means of providing students with formative feedback and engaging students in activities that are in themselves learning activities. And the other one is assessment of learning that is summative. Assessments in accreditation of learning. You grade them. That this is that time when we reward them with a grade. Although grades are not very important in a transformative kind of outcome-based education implementation. So it uses assessment tasks to judge and award credit for the level of achievement a student attains through a course or program. There are two major or three parts of these assessment tasks. One that is assessment for transition and assessment for learning, that's formative, and assessment for certification, that's summative. So for the assessment for transition, it has only low weight and low marking, like any reflective activity, study plan, or contract. And then assessment for learning, that's low weight but high marking, like draft essay or report, notes on literature review, components of portfolio. And then on the other part, which is summative, assessment for certification, it has high weight because that is the basis of our grades, but low marking, like examination, final essay or report, and portfolio of the students. So what are the typical uses of these kinds of assessment? So first, assessment of learning, they certify competence. They sort students according to achievement. While assessment for learning, they help students see and hit the target, and they help teachers identify and respond to student needs. Okay, so what role do the teachers and students play with these kinds of assessments? So for the teachers, on the part of the assessment of learning, they follow test administration procedures, and they use results to help students reach the GPS or the GPA. And then for the assessment for learning, they inform students of targets, they modify instruction, and they involve students in assessment as well. On the role of the students, for assessment of learning, they study to meet standards, they take the test, they strive for the highest score possible, they avoid failure. For the assessment for learning, They strive to understand the target. They act on classroom assessment to improve, and they encourage success. So to be successful in utilizing assessment tasks, both formative and summative, the following must be considered. Provide continuous opportunities throughout each course for students to practice the skills and apply the knowledge they have gained and measure their achievement of the intended learning outcomes. They provide valuable feedback to instructors concerning the effectiveness of the teaching strategies they have employed to deliver the intended learning outcomes. So more specifically, there are 3 types of ATs. They are assessment for learning, assessment as learning, assessment of learning. This one. So assessment for learning occurs when teachers use inferences about student progress to inform their teaching. Assessment as learning occurs when students reflect on and monitor their progress to inform their future learning goals. And assessment of learning occurs when teachers use evidence of student learning to make judgments on student achievement against goals and standards. So results of these assessments are relevant and useful to, for example, the primary users, like on the assessment of learning, the policymakers, the program planners, and the supervisors. For the assessment for learning, the students, the teachers, and the parents. And for the assessment as learning, self-directed learners and students. Especially now that we have self-directed learning sessions, because we are still transitioning from pure online to limited face-to-face. Okay, let's now proceed to the last part, which is outcome-based assessment. So outcome-based assessment, these are the authentic assessments that are appropriate to assess and evaluate the outcomes in different levels. So for example, in our case, we map, this is the matrix of outcome-based assessments that we have identified. Like for formative assessments, this is on the level of the course. It assesses the learning outcome. It is conducted by the teacher, and it is also interpreted and reported by teacher. And of course, they submit it to the dean. Summative and course outputs are the same, course level, but summative that assesses the module outcome, the course outputs that assesses the course outcome. For the program level assessments, we will do student portfolio, student satisfaction survey on academic services, exit interview for graduating students, exit survey, graduate tracer study for new graduates, and graduate tracer study for old graduates. So bakit namin sineparate yung GTS for new? Because the outcome assessed for the new graduates na GTS are the POs. The outcome assessed for the old graduates are the PEOs. Okay? And then for the college level assessment, we do industry survey, industry forum, alumni forum, curriculum review committee report, and alumni portfolio. That also assesses the POs and the PEOs. And for researches that measure attainment of Paulinian LPOs and graduate attributes, that assesses the LPO and the GA. And researches that measure attainment of VMGO-CV, maybe not researches, but just assessment of the VMGOCV, that is also on the level of the university. Okay. And we also have outcome-based assessment plans matrices. This is an example of an outcome-based assessment plan for the course level. So for example, meron tayong learning outcome 1 up to learning outcome N hanggang last LO. Ano ba ang mga assessment tasks na i-employ mo? Is this formative or summative? And what is the weight? And then for the module outcomes, ganun din. And for the course outcomes, ganun din. We also have outcome-based assessment plan for the program level. This time, the outcomes are the POs, the PEOs. The POs 1, 2 up to N, and the PEOs 1, 2 up to N. So the second column is assessment method to be employed, the sources of data, intervals or timelines, and the persons or offices responsible. And then lastly, the outcome-based assessment plan for institutional level, which means that we have to assess the GAs or the LPOs, and then of course the departmental VMGOCV and the institutional VMGOCV. It's the same as the matrix in the program level. We need to identify the assessment method to be employed, the sources of data, whether they are direct or indirect data assessments, intervals and timelines, once a year or once a semester or once in every 3 years, like that, and persons or offices responsible. Okay, so we are supposed to do workshop number 5, but since the task is again very tedious, I'll just have to present to you workshop number 5 specifications. Following the output from workshops 1 to 4 and applying your takeaways from the lecture, design an assessment plan for course level, program level, and institutional level. So what you use for these 3 are supposed to be these ones: course level, program level, and institutional level. So instead of doing this, we will proceed na to the next parts of the presentation. Kasi we still have a lot of things to do. I still have a lot of things to share to you, like our templates and matrices. And finally, continuous quality improvement efforts must be integrated in the system. These are done after thorough and perspectives-based assessment and evaluation of outcomes, all the way from module or lesson to course, to program, to institutional or departmental level. So the CQI, or continuous quality improvement, this effort is still developing, a work in progress, but with the framework, the manual, and the templates, things are now clearer and easier for us. So this is the idea about the CQI. It focuses on closing the loop, which promotes the need for objective data to analyze and improve its process, teaching, learning, and assessment cycle. So the idea here is whatever are the results of the assessments from the lesson, module, and course will be the basis of the teacher in improving his or her course plan. Okay? Course plan in the form of course syllabus, course modules, and course guides. And then for the program level, whatever are the results of the assessment and evaluation of the program outcomes and the program educational objectives, these will be bases in improving our curriculum in terms of what are the outcomes for the next batches, for the next set of students that will come to us. Okay? Because ideally, ang OBE dapat 4 years bago siya parang i-improve. Kailangan talaga you implement the OBE in a way na wala nang changes for the 4 years, first year, second year, third year, and fourth year of implementation. Sa fourth year of implementation, meron ka ng complete picture of everything from course to program to institutional, which will be basis for our improvement in the next cycle. Okay? Ganun dapat yung OBE. Okay? And lastly na gyud, may I present to you now the sample templates that we used in St. Paul University, Surigao in terms of syllabus, modules, and course guides. So let's start maybe with the course syllabus. Ang course syllabus namin, dalawa ang version niya. May course syllabus for the Gen Ed and my course syllabus for the Prof Ed. Let me share to you that one. This one is for Gen Ed. So lahat na ng na-discuss ko kanina are now incorporated in our syllabus. So part 1 are the course information. Part 2 are the institutional statements of philosophy and objectives like the vision, mission, core values, and graduate attributes. Part 3 is the mapping of the LPOs and the VMGO CV statements. Part 5 is the Gen Ed PEO and LPO mapping. Part 5 is the Gen Ed PO and LPO mapping. Part 6, the CO and Gen Ed PO activation mapping. We have the course outputs, and then the teaching and learning plan proper, followed by the textbooks and references and other information like classroom rules, policies, teacher information, etc., etc. So that's for the Gen Ed syllabus template. So ang kaibahan lang ng Gen Ed tsaka Prof Ed syllabus template, yung POs and PEOs ng Gen Ed, uniform lahat yon. Pero yung POs and PEOs ng mga Prof Ed, depende yun sa program. Kasi it will be very tedious for our Gen Ed teachers to map their subjects, their course outcomes and their module outcomes or lesson outcomes to the PO of each of the programs na siniservice nila. So if that's the case, then gulong-gulo talaga ang buhay ng Gen Ed teachers natin kasi kung nag-handle siya ng understanding the self for 10 programs, iba-iba yung syllabus nun. Kasi iba-iba yung PEO and PO ng mga programs. So mahirap talaga. So kailangan we have to come up with a uniform PEO and PO for all Gen Ed programs. In our case, we have a unified PEO-PO for Gen Ed, unified PEO-PO for Rel Ed, unified PEO-PO for NSTP, and unified PEO-PO for PE and NSTP. Okay? So, kung sino yung mga subjects na belong sa clusters na nun, yun dapat ang gagamitin na template ng syllabus nila. Instead of isang Gen Ed teacher gagawa ng 30 versions of the syllabus kasi there are 30 programs nga na ino-offer ng school. Diba? So that's it for the Gen Ed. Let me share to you the Prof Ed. Where's the Prof Ed? Wait, ha? Here's the Prof Ed. They are more or less similar, only that the PEOs and POs are specific now to the program. And then after that, we go now to the course module template. So sa course module namin, this is how we do it. This is the template of our, can you see now my screen? Hello?
Yes, sir.
The
Yes,
course
sir.
module.
Opo.
Okay. So for the course module, ito yung outline niya. We have the course information, the course outcomes, and then module number 1, module number 2, and so on. So for each module, meron siyang introduction, the module outcomes, and then topic 1 for under topic 1 under this module, topic 2, topic 3, topic 4, topic 5, and then synthesis, tapos summative assessments na. And then for the next module, similar pa rin. Okay? And to be more specific, ito yung course information, ito yung course outcomes. Dito ilalagay yung mga course outcomes ng isang subject. This will be the place for the introduction of the module. The module outcomes, which must be aligned with the CO. And then topic, which has an LO, a list of LO, which must be aligned with the MO. And then we have the TLA1 for this topic, the FA1 for this topic, TLA2 for this topic, FA2 for this topic, and so on. So it depends on how many TLAs or FAs would you include in a certain topic. So it's up to you actually. And of course, another topic and another topic. So that's how the course module is being outlined. And then we go to the module 2, similar pa rin. That's the course module. The last one is the course guide. So ang course guide namin, this is actually changing from semester to semester. Yung course syllabus and course modules, magmo-modify lang or mag-a-update lang if there's a need. Pero yung course guide, every semester, talagang may course guide ang bawat subject na hinahandle ng teacher. If you have 10 loads for that semester, then you have to have 10 course guides. Kasi sa course guide namin, kailangan malagay dito kung ano yung classification ng limited face-to-face niya. Meron kasi kaming classification like type 1, pure online, type 2, pure limited face-to-face, type 3, that's the combination of pure 50-50. 50% of the time is pure online, 50% of the time is pure unlimited face-to-face. Okay? And then because we are using the block system of class scheduling, like block 1 has 16 days, block 2 is 16 days again, block 3 is another 16 days. So hindi lahat ng subjects kukompletohin siya for the entire semester. Maybe 2 or 3 subject nandun sa block 1. Isang month lang yan or more. Tapos another 2 or 3 sets of subjects, another block na naman siya. Yun ang scheduling namin dito. So we have the course outcomes of this subject. And then here in the course guide proper, nandito na yung mga modules. Tapos mari-reflect dito kasi we are using reflex framework of the flexible learning approach. Reflex is reflex is ano ba yun? I'm blacked out na. Wait ha. Remote flexible learning experience, reflex. So sa reflex framework namin, we have 4 stations. Station 1 is independent learning. Station 2 is collaborative learning. Station 3 is teacher-directed. And Station 4, assessment and evaluation. So yung 16 days ng isang block, it has to be looped through these particular stations. So ang malalagay dito would be yung schedule nila. In the case of Station 1, depende kasi walang room to kasi independent learning. They do not have to go to school. For collaborative learning, it depende din kung where are they going to do their group work. And then we have the teacher-directed learning na nandito lahat ng schedule. Tapos assessment and evaluation kung kailan magkakandak ng formative and assessment tasks. Yun. This is our course guide. So those are the 3 templates, the course syllabus, the course modules, and the course guides. Any questions so far or any clarification? Any question po? So lahat ng yon I also shared in the workshop materials as well as the workshops. I mean in the webinar materials. So these are the webinar materials that I shared in this folder. This is public folder, accessible by anybody. So you can see here the template of the syllabus, the template of the course guide, course module, and even the outcome-based curriculum design, development, review, and evaluation manual. So if you are doing monitoring naman sa mga colleges or programs ninyo, meron din kaming OBE audit checklist where you can see that the parts of the OBE can be monitored whether these are in place or not. Okay, so that's it. Any clarification po or question? So instead of doing the workshops 4 and 5, maybe kayo na bahala doon kasi nandun naman yun sa folder. And I will not delete that folder that I shared. It will be there for a couple of months pa. So I think basically those are my sharing of the experience of St. Paul University Surigao in implementing the outcome-based education.